This is a true story. It happened to a friend of mine. Well, actually, he wasn't really a friend, more like a tormentor. His name was Bruno. He was the only kid in Miss Schmendrick's second grade class who shaved. He had more hair on his upper lip than I had on my entire body. And when he walked, his knuckles dragged on the ground. And watching him eat was like being in the midst of a... But, excuse me, I digress. Bruno had two great loves. His first was torturing me. Every morning on the way to class, he would snatch my glasses and fling them to the girls' washroom. At lunchtime, he would force-feed me my tuna sandwich. And after school, there was the daily puddle dunk. My therapist says I have issues with Bruno. But enough about me. Let's talk about him. Because, you see, Bruno's other great love was the circus. Once a month, there was a circus on TV. The high-wire aerialists, the strong men, and the inevitable elephant dancing the mambo. And finally, they would get to what for Bruno was the main event. The house lights dimmed and Congo drums filled the air. The ringmaster told a tale of jungle explorers and their quest to capture the most evil, the most feared, the most dangerous predator of all, the rogue gorilla. A group of burly stevedores would come out carrying a large cage with a gorilla inside. Now, you know, we may have been in the second grade, but we weren't stupid. Everybody knew it was a man in a gorilla suit. Everyone but Bruno. He never quite got it. You see, whenever the circus was on TV, the gorilla act went exactly like this. The ringmaster would tell us how dangerous this gorilla was, and within 2 seconds, it would escape from its cage. The gorilla would roam around, terrorizing people. But the strange thing was, it was always the same people. First, the gorilla would find a lady in a polka-dotted dress. He'd grab her, she'd scream and run, and her dress would come off in his hands. Now, the thing that I found suspect was that her undergarments were strangely similar to my Aunt Helen's. And in my entire life, I've only known 2 women who wore that brand of underwear. Aunt Helen and the circus lady. Then the gorilla would find a man wearing a hat. He'd pull off the hat and rub the guy's bald head, and, well, that was the act. Then the gorilla would get back into the cage, and they'd carry him away. Now, if I were a fearsome king of the jungle, I would at least visit the concession stand for some caramel corn, or maybe ask a pretty stenographer out for coffee, but you know, in our deepest heart of hearts, we secretly wished it was real. And one day our wishes came true, the day the circus came to town. We were abuzz with excitement. All Bruno could talk about was the gorilla, and how, in the event that it escaped captivity again, he was prepared to wrestle it into submission Greco-Roman style. Bruno never grasped the fact that this was a mere gorilla forgery. Needless to say, that night the gardens were packed. And I saw Bruno with his mother as they crept to their seats in the nosebleed section. Finally, the main event. The ringmaster announced the gorilla act. The house lights dimmed and the Congo drums, they congoed. And then the stevedores brought the cage out as the ringmaster described how fearsome and dangerous it all was. Then, like clockwork, the cage door swings open. The gorilla rummaged around in the audience until he found the lady in the polka dot dress. She screams, he grabs, she runs off in my Aunt Helen's underwear. You could hear Bruno laughing all the way from his perch in the nosebleed section. But then, the laughter stopped. The gorilla was supposed to get back in his cage, but no, he was coming through the stands, closer and closer to Bruno. He tried to scream, but it got caught in his throat. He tried to run, but his mother grabbed hold of him. She didn't want to chase him all over the gardens. The gorilla reared up in front of him. It screamed and beat its chest. Bruno screamed, then fainted into the soggy popcorn and soda under his seat. He missed the end of the show. Then the gorilla went back to the cage and a pretty girl took off its mask, and the circus strongman was inside the gorilla suit. The audience cheered while Bruno's mother dragged him down to the subway and, well, home. This is a true story. It happened to a friend of mine, and the funny thing is, from that time on, Bruno never bothered me again. You see, I discovered a secret weapon to use against him.